אנחנו נעבור לחלק השני של הפאנל שלנו. הפאנל הבא יעסוק בתרומה של נאו-בנקים להתפתחות חדשנות בעולמות הפיננסיים, תוך הבנת הסיפור של סטרלינג בנק, אחד הנאו-בנקים המצליחים באנגליה. לשם כך אני מתכבדת להזמין לשיחה של אחד על אחד את סם אברינגטון, CEO of Engine by Starling, את דני חכישווילי, סגן המפקח על הבנקים, מנהל אגף טכנולוגיה וחדשנות. קודם לשיחה נתחיל עם הצגה קצרה של מר אברינגטון על סטרלינג בנק, please. The floor is yours. Okay, good luck.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to your beautiful country to speak today. I'm Sam Everington from Starling Bank. We're a fully licensed digital-only bank based out of London in the UK. I joined Starling back in 2016 when there were probably only 20 people in the business, no license, no systems, no customers. And we've grown somewhat. Since then, I originally led the teams building the mobile apps and the APIs. Then I ran product and product design for the bank, and now I head up the technology side of the business. Ooh, this is a totally different slide deck, so this will be fun. I'll talk without them, it's fine. Starling's a UK-only bank. You probably haven't heard of Starling, I guess, quite a lot of you, so a quick introduction to Starling and the story. Starling was founded in 2014 by Anne Bowden. She's not your typical tech entity founder. She's worked in banking, in traditional roles, in senior roles in banks around the world for 30 years, and she basically became frustrated with banks' inability and unwillingness to change to meet the changing needs and demands of customers and their expectations. And so eventually banks were blaming regulation, I guess a lot in Europe they're blaming regulation, but actually it's a bunch of structural and cultural problems and a historic underinvestment in technology that was holding them back. So Anne quit her job and decided to set out on this journey to build a new bank instead that was enabled by its technology and could really deliver what we want to for our customers. I'm trying to remember where I'm going to go now. Sorry, I'm totally thrown by a different set of slides. Starling's very unusual, I think, in the fintech sector. We are profitable, which is basically unheard of. It's been a real focus for us for the last few years, and we've done this because actually the business model in banking isn't broken. There's a real perception in the tech industry that banks are wrong and broken and are going to die eventually, but actually they're hugely profitable institutions. They've been around for hundreds of years. And so we followed a very traditional business model. We make money by holding money, by lending money to other customers, the net interest margin, and by moving payments. And we also have a few additional revenue sources in terms of subscriptions and selling our technology, but primarily it's a very traditional business model that's allowed us to get there. We just do so with a modern cloud-native core banking system that allows us to move fast and meet customers' expectations. A bit of context on the impact we've had in 5 years. We now have 3 million customers in the UK, 500,000 business accounts. To put that into perspective, it's about an 8% market share in 4 years. It's about half the market share of Barclays, and HSBC only have about a 10% share in the UK. We've got about £10 billion on deposit at the moment, 4 billion or so of lending, and we're now up to around 2,000 employees. So we follow a traditional business model, and having run a product, I'd love to tell you that the reason people are with us are for our delightful and engaging customer experiences, but ultimately people don't enjoy being with banks. I'm going to put that down. People don't enjoy dealing with their finances and worrying about banks, and so actually the main reason that we'll get people to switch initially is cost, and so we knew at the very beginning we had to run a fundamentally lower cost business model than the other banks. But if you want to make money as a bank, you need to hold their money. And I think the fintech sector has been far too focused on engagement and customer experience and time in apps and sheer customer numbers. And you don't make any money by holding customers, numbers alone. And so we've had a real focus on looking and feeling like the traditional bank that you've seen on the high street for the rest of your life to build up that trust to get people to deposit their money with us. Through to the journeys we've designed, one of the lessons we learned early on actually is there's an important kind of minimum level of friction in a journey. If you make things too easy and too seamless, customers don't believe they're real. They don't think they're getting a bank they can trust at the end of it. And so there's journeys where we've deliberately added friction and slowed things down as we move through, which has actually been very effective in getting customers to switch and bank to us. Once they've switched over to you, that's when this one will be in here. there's some numbers. There we go. That's when they switch over for the kind of delightful, personalized user experiences you have that get them engaged and using you more and more, so that they might get hooked by a cheap travel offering, but then they love the personalization and the way they can make it their own and manage their money. And we've had real success on the retail side, but particularly on the business banking as well. Because banks in Europe especially have invested somewhat in retail technology. There's been very little investment in the SME systems, but at the same time they're closing the branches and removing the relationship managers that the business owners are used to interacting with and benefiting from. And so that's a great space for us basically to run around and head through the market. And so Engine, the business I run, is the technology business that is enabling and powering this. We were the first UK bank, I think, to run retail banking operations in the cloud, and I know the regulators have here as well. It took a lot of time and a lot of work working through areas like cybersecurity and resilience to get them comfortable with the fact we were going to do this. And actually, it's much easier now to have this conversation 5 years later, because we've been demonstrably running a more reliable banking service than any of the traditional banks have with their in-house data centers. So that's moved us forward with the regulators there. That conversation is much easier to have now. I think I'll leave that there and come over and chat with Danny and answer some of the questions. There we go.